It doesn't take a knife or a sword to die, just a cough, a shiver, and the world goes silent. This story begins in the east, in the faraway Mongolian steppe. The year is 1346. Something so tiny it's invisible to the human eye begins its journey. A bacterium called Yersinia pestis, which lives in the blood of marmots, jumps from wild animals to humans, and then death begins its march. In the Mongol capital of Sarai, the population falls one by one. No one understands what's happening. Then when King Janibeg's army arrives at the Black Sea port city of Kaffa, things become clearer and more terrifying than ever. The Mongols lay siege to the city, but in the midst of the battle they themselves begin to fall. Not content to die alone, King Janibeg orders the bodies of the infected to be thrown over the walls. And so the Black Death entered Europe, in blood, in bones, in despair. In May 1347, the surviving Genoese boarded ships and fled from Kaffa. They thought they had escaped, but they carried with them something no one dared to look at: death following them. A ship arrived in Constantinople, and within weeks 90% of the population had disappeared. No one had time to mourn their loved ones. No one had time to bury the bodies. The city fell silent, an eerie silence. In October, another ship landed in Sicily. Almost all of its crew were dead. The city took them in. And then half the population of Sicily followed them to the other side. The plague swept through Messina, then spread across Italy like wildfire. Europe had never seen anything so swift and so merciless. A year without light. Venice tries to fight back. They inspected ships, burned boats carrying the sick, ordered taverns closed and banned the sale of foreign liquor. Gondoliers paraded the canals, proclaiming how to dispose of the dead as if singing a funeral oration. But no matter what, 60% of Venice died. Meanwhile, the blame began to rise. It must be the Jews, people whispered. And so the blood continued to flow, not from the plague this time, but from hatred of humanity. Thousands of Jews were killed, burned, forced to confess to crimes they had never committed. In Germany, a group of flagellants emerged. They traveled across Europe, naked and bloody, singing and whipping their bodies. They believed that only self-punishment would bring forgiveness from God. But instead of saving lives, they only spread the hysteria to England, to the heart of Europe. In late 1348, the Black Death came to London. Princess Joan, daughter of King Edward III, died. The whole royal family was shaken. London began to smell of death. People fled the city, carrying the plague to all parts of England. Fire, tears, and despair. Valentine's Day. That year, no flowers, no poems. Only fire burned 2,000 Jews in Strasbourg. It was not a celebration, but a funeral for humanity. Ships from England headed north. When one ship drifted into the Norwegian port of Bergen, the crew was dead. But the plague survived, and it set foot in northern Europe, Sweden, Denmark, and then all the way to Greenland. The remaining Vikings after, witnessing the plague ravaging their homeland, abandoned their expeditions. For them, the sea was no longer an opportunity, but a path to death. 50. Scotland falls to its own greed. Seeing England exhausted, the Scots plan to attack. But as the army gathers on the border, the plague strikes. 5,000 people die. The army retreats, but no one realizes they are taking the disease home. A third of Scotland is gone forever. The deaths slow, but the scars remain. That year, the plague stops. Maybe because of quarantine, Maybe because it has taken enough lives. But the damage is indelible. 25 to 50 million people die. Half of Europe is gone. When the world looks back. Europe, after the Black Death, is a different Europe. Much land is left uncultivated. Many nobles no longer have serfs. Workers start demanding rights, demanding higher wages. The nobles react, and from there, uprisings, revolutions break out. It all started during the Renaissance.